Okay, welcome to another installment of how I'm making my own 460G. So as you can see, there's been a lot of progress made. Let's see, what have we done? So we've gotten rid of everything that was in the way here before. I did get this loosened up. I I cheated. I took the sides of it off with these still attached on there, and then once that was off, I was able to gain easy access to the square nuts on the underside, and I took them all out and loosened them up. And did I have to take them off? No. But if I ever decide I need to clean anything with this in the future, it's nice to know that all of these have been taken off and they're loosened and they all go back. This looks like it was almost like it was enameled at one point, which is kind of weird. Either that or something was dripped onto it that baked onto the grate here, because it doesn't seem to go all the way. It does look like paint, but it hasn't really burned off. It's definitely not on the underside all the way. I did identify one crack in the grate right there, but it's pretty small. So the grate's really in pretty good shape. So I'll go ahead and clean this up. But you know, the problem is with all this paint or whatever else is on here is going to make this difficult to clean up and then repaint if I want to. So that's going to be something we have to figure out. All these other pieces, we're going to get them cleaned up and de-rusted and painted, and they should look like new. And now we're finally getting to the point to where we can actually put this head in the electrolysis bath. So full disclosure here, I've soaked these screws and nuts and made sure that they all kind of come out, so you're not just sitting here watching me struggle with this goofy thing. So that's what we're going to do here first, is that we're going to finish the disassembly of this, because these have all been broken down loose. I find it pretty awesome that every single nut and screw on here, no matter where it is, has all got a backing washer or a lock washer on it, which this is a lock washer, but it's completely flat. I mean, I can see the split in it, but it's because it's been exposed to so much heat, it just lost any of its springs, so it now just functions as a washer instead of a lock washer. So when we take this off here, we're going to break a seal, a gasket that's been in there forever, and we're going to end up making a new one. But we want to make sure that we get all of the rust out of this everywhere, no matter where it is. So we're going to go ahead and take this off here too. So break this loose. I'm just gonna pry gently right here and see how she comes out. Yeah, there we go. Actually, the came out pretty easy, huh? Yeah, and what have we got in here but mud daubers? Yep, that's right, ladies and gentlemen. Look at that. So yeah, there's probably a good amount of mud dauber dust in there, so being soaked in some water probably won't hurt it either. So we're going to continue with the breakdown, but yeah, that and big chunks of lead that have come out of there that have dripped through these. So I'm pretty sure that the majority of these, and I haven't really checked, but there's just all sorts of stuff in these slits that I can feel in there. It's plenty of lead and probably some rust, but the electrolysis process will help get rid of all of the rust and anything else blocking it up. So we're just going to take everything off of here that we possibly can. I need to get this fitting out of here, and I'm trying to work on the big stuff while it's still attached, because I'll have some leverage to pry on it to get it off of there. Looks like a 1/2 inch. Yep. Use my box end. Wow. There we go. Was on there like they meant business. So that has started to spin, but the rest of it is also spinning. Oh man, that's not what I wanted. Best way to do that is to shake hands with danger here, and we're gonna put this in here to apply some force to keep it from spinning, and then, whoops, then we should be able to back that nut out. Because I don't want to have any dissimilar metals in here. I just want to have just the steel. So let me get this thing set in here like it's supposed to be. All right. Give it a bit of a crank to hold it in place. Gotta get it all the way on there before you apply torque. And then try not to bend that needle. Hopefully this will now come loose. Oh no, it's still spinning. Shoot. Well, it's spinning because it's coming loose. Oh, you know what? I bet it is. I bet it's spinning because it's just screwed all the way in there. Derp. So let's try that. Yeah, that's not a put this over here so I don't wreck it. So this is just the whole thing screwed in, and this is just the way to tighten it. So that's fine. So we'll just unspin this. That'll be out of there. Nice. And then we'll get in here and we'll clean this up, because again, the way that the connection for the generator works, it is solely metal on metal. That is it. And then the force of the bolt on the top, the grub screw on the top, forces it together. So you want to make sure that this connection right here is really quite clean. So this will be, spend a little time with some steel wool in here to polish that up. And yeah, see, you get it's amazing how fast brass responds to steel wool. But that's what we'll do with that. Remove this grub screw. And once we get that out, we've got the little choke plate on the bottom, which we'll need to get flattened. So let's get the rest of these three off of here. And then that means this burner head will finally be free. I hope you guys are excited about this as I am. I can't wait to see some massive flamage come out of this thing. I'll tell you, these rusty screws like this are no fun to get off of here. Gotta get this. I don't always like ratchet screwdrivers, but every now and then they're pretty handy. They are kind of useful. Okay, one last one. Okay, and it is free. Finally, my goodness. And I think when we put this together, we'll put it together in a way such that the plate is a little bit more visible. I talked about this before. We kind of clean this up a little bit, but this is the brass model plate on here, and you can see that it says on here quite clearly, it says Coleman 460. Now you don't see a G after it, so what that tells me is that somebody bought the grate after, because that is if it came with the grate, it was a 460G. If it did not, it was just a 460. So this did not come with the grate, so all that was added on later. The last thing we got is this, which is the choke, and or at least the air intake. So when this is in here in the bottom, you'll see that this swings over this and controls the amount of air that actually goes in. All the ones I've seen have all been bent down like this, and I think that part of the deal with that is that the way the design worked, I don't think it worked very well. I don't think people were super happy with it, so they just kind of bent it out of the way. But I did see someone who has taken like a bit of rod. We'll use this as an example, but they put a bit of rod on here and then they welded it on, so that way they can adjust the airflow at whatever, I guess, well, I'm going to say power level, but how much gas, how wide open you have the gas. And so that is something that's going to be covered in another video. But at any rate, and another lock washer, everything's got them. What I'm going to do is I'm going to flatten that completely flat, and then I'll probably build what I'm talking about, and that's and putting that rod on there so we can control the airflow. So this is it. So it is finally all completely broken down, except for this piece right here. And this is a drain, so when you're starting this thing, and if you flood it, fuel will collect down here. So the idea was, instead of having to dump the whole thing upside down, you just unscrew this and everything would drain out. Well, sadly, that is not coming out because no one has used this in many years, and since it's a low spot, it's probably collected some water at one point or another, so it's not behaving real well. And I'm going to try to get another piece of this so I can remove it without damaging it. I don't want to mess up the knurling on here, so I'm just going to wrap this piece of gasket material around it, and then I'm going to grip on it with this and adjust these out so I can give it some oomph. And then, yeah, and there she goes. Loose and no apprentice marks on it, which is fantastic. So now this drain is out of there. It is completely plugged. Yeah, it's completely plugged. There's supposed to be a hole in there, and I had a little bitty drill bit, so maybe we can spin that down in there. There it goes. Yeah, so that wouldn't have drained anything. But now we've got a hole. Yay. So now we've made the drain functional. So what I'm going to do here is that I'm going to hit this with some, not carb cleaner, but brake cleaner. Brake cleaner is excellent for removing any kind of oil, and we don't want any oil on here because the electrolysis process will not work wherever there is oil. So I'm gonna try to do this so I don't spray my chair any more than I need to. And there we go. So we're going to give that a second to dry, and yes, I use the chlorinated one because the chlorinated one really works. And but the one thing you don't want to do with the chlorinated one is apply any heat to it, because when you do, you end up creating phosgene gas, which was a old school chemical warfare agent. So you don't want to do that. But you can see as all this stuff, all the solvent flashes off, that what we're left with here is a oil-free surface, whereas a second ago it was coated with PB Blaster. And that's why I like this stuff so much, because it does remove it really, really fast. And that is kind of it. So the only other thing we got to do is we're going to peel off this this gasket here, which, man, it almost wants to come off in one piece. Wouldn't that be great? Let's see, maybe I can get I know, I've got this blade, get underneath it with this, maybe we'll get lucky, and we can reuse the gasket instead of having to make one. So there you go. Wow, that was unexpected. Yeah, so we'll clean off there's a little bit of residue on here, but not too much. We got most of it off. I can tell I splashed a little bit of the brake cleaner on my arm because it is now burning. That's always fun. Anyway, so what we're going to do now is hook this up to the electrolysis rig, and I'm going to use, I thought I had a piece of wire around here that was the right size. It's not really. No. Alright, so I've got this here, and just pull off a length about like this. I hope that my electrolysis rig is deep enough for this. I guess we'll find out here shortly. But I'm gonna hang it this way. So we'll put one through here, one through here, and then just pull that up. And let's see, make sure that you guys can kind of see what's going on this end here as I just absolutely knock over everything in the shop. Okay. And let me move my camera around here a little bit. So yeah, that's perfect. There we go. All right, we're running out of battery power. We need to make this quick. So I'm gonna set this down in here and see. Oh, almost. I guess if I lay it on the side, that's not really optimal, but I guess I can do that. So then I will I'll put this on here like that. I'm going to get my piece of sacrificial metal. I'm going to put it on the opposite side, not touching it, of course. It's nowhere near it. But everything is submerged, so that's great. I'm going to get my little cable here, connect this to the sacrificial metal. I'm going to connect this to, spin this around. I hope I'm not getting too much wind noise here. Connect that there, so the part lead is going to the part, and the other one's going to the other one. Power supply over here, and then we apply power. And then we watch it bubble. And when it starts bubbling, we know things are working. So that is what we should be seeing. And do we have any bubbling happening? There we go. There's not a very good connection here. I'll kind of show you guys what it looks like. You can kind of see that there's some bubbles starting to come up. And we'll see the... Okay, we switch over to the audio to this one, and because the other one just, the other camera just died. But at any rate, it's we got some bubbles going. That means it's doing what it's supposed to. The water is moving because the bubbles are pushing it up. So a couple of days of this, we should be good to go. Until next time, keep them lit. Well, I made some adjustments here. Much larger sacrificial metal and the wire to carry it over. And now we're seeing like electrolysis happening like it should be happening. So this should clean it up pretty good. That's the way it should look.